Alright, so I'll introduce you to this guy. This is a captive bred representative of the saltwater crocodile. He is 3.8 metres in... talk about that here. He's 3.8 metres in length, so he's not average size for a male crocodile yet, for a salty. They usually average 45 metres, so he's still growing. He's probably about 200 kilos, give or take, so he's not the biggest croc we've got, but hands down, the most dangerous animal that we have to work with. Even more so than those big 4.5 to 5 metre ones down the back. He's fit, he does the show every day. He's smaller, he's more agile, he's faster, he's much more dangerous, and he's still big enough and capable enough to kill someone my size. So there is an element of risk to this show, but mostly calculated, guys. So, mostly. He's got a great crocodile name. Most of you would have heard it today already. We called this one Hagrid, and we called him Hagrid because he started doing the show when Harry Potter came out, so it was relatable to people. And I don't know if you noticed, but he's got a big head in proportion to his body. Yeah, so we thought that was suited to him. He's 35 years old, guys. So born here at Hartley's, he was this big when he came out. So that's the star of Hartley's right there. So he's on his own. Have you noticed a lot of the big boys are in their own enclosures? There's a reason for that. Did anyone see Gregory over there? He killed his girlfriend 2 years ago. Anyone see Spartacus down the back? He used to be in the 11 o'clock arena, and about 5 years ago in the middle of a show, in front of a crowd of 600 people, he swims up to a female croc, grabs her on the front right leg, death rolls, tears it off and eats it in front of everyone. Surprisingly, crowd pleaser. People loved it. How cheering the cameras came out. But it was out of character for Spartacus, so we gave him the benefit of the doubt. We left him in there. That was a mistake because 3 months after, he killed a female crocodile in there as well. But you can't hold it against him, guys. That's what they're like. They're not like you and I. He's hell-bent on dominancy and territoriality, isn't he? They all are, those big males especially. Just to be clear, they're not big on things like gender equality and cultural evolving, unlike us. He has no emotions, so he doesn't feel things like anger or sadness or happiness. They lack the limbic system in the brain, the structure that facilitates emotions. They don't have it, they never had the evolutionary need to evolve it. So that's one of the ways in which we communicate, because we're highly social. We're the most social animal on the planet. That's why we have them, but they don't. The other thing is he doesn't have any abstract thought either, so he doesn't think outside the box like you and I do. He's not big on self-development, stuff like that. He's never, he doesn't feel regret or remorse for his actions. He's got no conscience, no ethics or moral code. He's got all the traits of a psychopath by human standards, but it's just what they are. So if you ever get attacked or killed by a croc, don't take it personally. Well, there's no malicious intent behind it, they're just doing them, right? They're primarily instinctive, which is what he's doing right now. He's showing instinctive behaviour. So he is very educated, this croc. He does it. He's been doing it for years, longer than me. So what he's doing, he's going to track me throughout the whole show. He'll know where I am probably 90% of the time. So when he's under the water like this, he can't see me. His vision would be as good as ours under that kind of condition. He can't smell me. He closes off the nasal passage. He can hear me, but it's hard to locate airborne sounds accurately when you're submerged under the water. Plus my voice is getting thrown from different directions, so hard that way. What he's relying on is for me to make vibrations. Any disturbance in the water, he can feel it. So he's got pressure receptors in his skin, hundreds of them. They're heavily concentrated around his jaws. So even if I touch the water very lightly like this, I just gave away my position, he knows exactly where I am, and I'll bet you he's reorientating. If I come up on the land and I make a thump like I'm heavy-footed, that'll send out a vibration, and he'll respond to that as well. That's how sensitive they are. Freaky, isn't it? I didn't even touch the water. So you can imagine if you go and step out in the water there, he'd be able to find you very quickly. Now, just to demonstrate, people think the water's pretty deep there. I'll show you across here. Foot deep of water, and you're hiding an almost 4 metre crocodile capable of killing you. We've got a rule up here. If you're around areas that are inhabited by crocodiles, you're 5 metres back from the water's edge at all times, no exceptions. Right? Fishermen are the worst ones for it. You see it all the time. They'll stand in water that deep, shin deep, because they think they'll see crocs come up on them. But he doesn't give much away at all. He only drops maybe 2 inches below the surface and he disappears. So even when you're fishing, 5 metres back. If you can't cast more than 5 metres, take up another hobby. You're not good at fishing. Look what he does, right? He'll come up. This is the minimum exposure posture. There's 2% of his body out of the water, his ears, his eyes and his nostrils. seeing, hearing and smelling. Then he goes back down like that. Now he's back into ambush mode. Alright, if I'm careful and I sneak over here and I don't make any disturbance, he'll think I'm still over there. I can see him reorientating, heading over there. That's because that's where he last saw me. Alright, but eventually, if I stay still for long enough, he'll be thinking, where did Matt go? He'll just pop the top part of his head up just like he did there and have another look. Reorientate and then move in closer. Yeah, so that's what he does. He's going to be doing it the whole show. He's pretty switched on, this guy. 2/3 of the brain is for sensory input and locomotor activity. Now, as far as attacks go in Australia, there's really not that many. They're few and far between. Fatalities are even fewer. Just to give you an idea, in 150 years of recording, there's been 85 fatalities from crocs in Australia on humans. You're statistically more likely to be killed by a big male, this size and larger. Only 2 of those fatalities were as a result of female crocodiles. So you can sort of outfight them a little bit more. This guy, I wouldn't be able to outfight him. Oh, maybe 60-40, something like that. That's better than 0, but yeah, look, he's reorientating, he's located me. See him moving in closer now? See, I've got the upper hand, I know where he is, right? But you can stop there, thanks. When he's happy I'm within strike range, that's when he'll launch his attack. And it's just a massive burst of energy like he did at the start there. He'll just come flying out and just lock onto anything you can grab hold of. Hardest biting animal on the planet, you heard those jaws, right? That's displacement of air. The bigger the croc, the harder they bite. Now, our jaw pressure averages 100 pounds. His would be anywhere between 3,500 and 4,000 pounds. Yeah. The big boy like Zach down the back, 5 metres, 5,000 pounds, no problems. I think he's coming up for a sticky beak. I'm going to keep him thinking I'm going to go over here. I'll launch him out again in a second. I'll show you how they attack very soon. He's getting close, isn't he? That's what they're good at, guys. So when he does go to attack, he'll launch out and he'll lock onto you. He's got 64 to 68 teeth inside of that mouth. Now he constantly replaces these, so if he snaps one off, no problems. He'll just grow another one back. Actually, I found one just this morning. This is off the big guy's back down the back. Find them all the time in the enclosures. Have a look at that perler. That's a good one, isn't it? Yeah, does anyone want it? I'll bet you would. Got 20 bucks on you? I got 20, can I hear 25? 25 is bid, would you bid 30? I got 30, got 30, bid 35, I got 35, I got 100 over here, would you bid 105? Now you can stick it, you're not getting it. They're like nuggets of gold around here. Yeah. So that's yeah, they just keep replacing him, so no big deal. He can go through almost 3,500 teeth in his lifetime. How much does the tooth go for from the tooth fairy these days? About $2? 5? Inflation's through the roof. So he launches out, shut up. So he launches out, he'll grab you, right? And then he'll lock on and he'll just U-turn and take you out and drown you. Now, once he drowns you, if he wants to eat you, he needs to tear you apart. That's a predation event, right? So what he'll do is he'll grab hold of something and he'll roll. Everyone's heard of the death roll, right? They'll grab a limb or a chunk of flesh and just spin, that'll tear off. The other thing is head shakes. So he'll, get closer. He'll bring your whole body out of the water in his mouth and he'll just whiplash like that. It's pretty full on. Do you guys want to see it? There he goes. I like it. I'm not going to use myself, obviously. I'm going to use the rope. So this is a tool of the trade. That thing's getting closer still. Look at it. I see you, sucker. Isn't that freaky? Yeah. Stay down, thanks. So natural fibre rope. I want him to hang on to this. If it snaps off, no big deal. He'll just swallow it. It's natural fibre, so it's not going to affect him. He'll either pass it or regurgitate it, one or the other. But to make it more enticing, put an animal hide on the end of it. Make it nice and tough, something easy to grab onto. We had a sick koala yesterday, so we chucked that on there. It's a joke, relax. It's the next door neighbour's cat. Alright. I'll see if I can get another jaw slap out of him. Coming up. Come on. You can do better than that. Bigger one, bigger one. Whoop. Oh, grab a little bit. Watch what happens. Whoa, we're going for a walk. Right. You Victorians walk your dogs, huh? I don't want to go out that far. As long as the rope doesn't go slack, right? See if we can get a roll out of him. There's one. Get him up a little bit higher so you can get a better view. With a head shake. Oop, don't spit it. Come on again. Come on, big grab. There we go. Roll. Roll, baby, roll. One more. Go again. Not bad. Whoop. Give us a head shake. Come on. Ah, you mongrel. What are you going to do? Relax, it's heated. Spit it. I'm going to try and get back off him. What was that? That was pathetic. Don't do that again. Enough of that one. People used to clap for that sort of stuff. Shut up, I don't want to be. Oh my God. Let's give him a minute to get his breath back. So those were the death rolls and the head shakes, guys.
None of you are fit.
Oh man, I'm unfit. He's going to sit and ponder on that. He's going to want to try to swallow it, but he knows all the tricks. He knows I'm going to try to yank it off him because he can't swallow it underwater, so he'll bring his head above the surface, try and swallow it down. Just hang on a second. And when he does that, like he's juggling it down, that's when I can yank it out, but sometimes it's a bit tricky. He doesn't like to give it up easy. Alright, what else? Alright, let's say you got grabbed by a croc, say that was you in his jaws, what do you do to make him let you go? Tickle him. I haven't found a ticklish spot on a croc yet. Poke the eyes, yeah, sensitive spot on any animal, give it a crack. Yeah, I like it. Anything else? Bite him back. Yeah, I like that. Don't know if it'll work. Punch him in the nostrils. See the end of the snout there, the nasal disc, it's raised. Put the nostrils there, maybe if he's in the water, stick your fingers in there. Get a bit of water in his nasal passage. Maybe. Anything else? Punch him in the stomach, if you can reach. I don't know if it'll work though. Nothing else? Shout it out. You want to put more of your body inside of the crocodile? Tell you what, everyone laughed at you, but you're onto something. I must stress, this is a theory. No one's ever tried or tested, but it is a common one, mate. So you're right, they have a modified tongue, and it seals off the back of the throat. So they don't actually stick their tongue out of the mouth like us. It's fused at the bottom, but it extends to the back. There's a theory that if you get grabbed by a crocodile and you're in the water, all you have to do is remain calm. You get your hand and you slide into the mouth and open up that valve at the back of the throat, give them a lung full of water. No one's ever tried or tested it, mate, but if you're in that position, give it a go for sure. Yeah. Nothing else? Anything else? Any other deterrents? Hey? Run away? He's got hold of you already. We're past running away. You're not going to drag 200 kilos of croc along the bank with him attached to your arm. Anything else? Riding like a horse. Radio, come on. Hey? Let him take your arm off. Yeah, mate. Actually, you know what? When we get trained up for this show, there's only a handful of us that do this. I think there's only 4 or 5 of us that do this show, right? So we're trained that if we get grabbed by a croc in this show, on the arm when we're doing a hand feed or something, because sometimes he double bites or he hooks in a little bit. But we're actually trained to drop like this and let him roll and snap it off. Because limbs can be replaced, lives can't, right? I'd rather lose an arm than my life. And it's amazing what they can do with prosthesis these days. Yeah. Nothing else? Cross got you, what do you do? Huh? You won't be able to pull his jaw open. Nah, it's not possible. It's too powerful. Those small ones that you play with, those photo crocs, every now and then you get complacent with them and they latch on, can't even get them off. That's how tough it is. Nothing else? Shout it out. Smack him. Just slap him over the face. Just Will Smith him. That'll work. He's pretty hard, like that skull of his head is like a brick. Yeah, that probably won't work. You got an idea? Punch him in the face, you'll break your hand. Yeah, the skull's actually built to take a hit. They've got pillar and columnar structures in the bone in the skull, which allow them to absorb impact. Yeah. Look, I asked this just to see if someone comes up with a bright idea. So there's not a lot you can do. There's no silver bullet. Every croc attack's different. Try anything. The eye gouge, I'd give it a go, because I've heard stories where it's worked. I've heard other stories where it hasn't worked. The one where it did work, this does not have a happy ending. So, do we all want to hear it? Morbid little children. Have we all taken our cement powder? Alright, so this attack happened about 25 years ago up at Cape York, which is the tip of Queensland. There was a group of people that were camping right next to the water. Bad idea up there, that's croc country. There's a lot of crocs up there and big ones as well. They're not managed up there like they are down here. And the mistake they made is they actually put a boat in the middle of the campsite, but they left bait in it from the day's fishing. Yeah, right, you can see where this is going. Crocs have a very acute sense of smell. Middle of the night, pitch black, everyone's asleep. A 4.5 metre crocodile, he's 3.8 metres, 4.5 metre crocodile, probably about 400 kilos, walks up into the campsite looking for the food. It can't find it, can it? It's in the boat. So what happened was there was a lady not too far off in a tent. She was camping in there and the tent was open and the croc goes up to the tent, grabs it and turns around and starts dragging it back towards the water. She wakes up screaming and the guy that was camping next to her heard the commotion and he runs out in the middle of the night, he dives on this croc and just tackles it and he drives his thumbs into its eyes and it let go of the lady. And I'm reading this story going, what a hero. Like, that's pretty impressive stuff. Until I read the end of it. This guy, I couldn't believe it, he was an Aussie that just saved his mother-in-law. What an idiot. Sometimes you just need to let nature take its course. Told you it was a sick end. Try that. Not guaranteed though. Not guaranteed. No silver bullet, guys. Try anything though. Kick it, punch it, poke it in the eyes. Ask it politely to stop. Do anything. I had someone the other week that said play dead. You won't be playing for very long. Don't do that. Don't play that game. Prevention's better than cure, yes? Right, so you're doing your 5 metre rule, but every now and then you get a real cocky crocodile. One launches out at you. What then do you do? Run. Solid. Any techniques?
Sideways.
Fast, I like that. I heard zigzag. Who reckons zigzagging would work? Alright, so I'm going to lay this one to rest. What's the fastest way from point A to point B?
Straight line.
Straight line. What does zigzagging do? Slows you down. And you look like an idiot. If you're going to die, go with dignity, man. I went to Florida a few years back. Gators everywhere on the golf courses, and they were telling golfers run in a circle. You get a rear shock halfway through your first circle, don't do that. Good idea. Run as hard as you can, flat out, opposite direction. If you're with a group of people, use it to your advantage. Push them out of the road. It's natural selection. 7.5 billion people make new friends. Try that out, mate. Have you got a bit? That's alright. A little bit of a distraction. Here we go. Try and get it back, guys. See this? Oh, suck in. Oh, thanks. Got left that little bit of chicken now. Not worth the time, buddy. So yeah, just run as hard as you can. Some people suggest climbing a tree. good short-term solution, but this animal can go for a year and a half without food. Oh man, people have been unstuck with that before. You can outrun these things, don't worry. You can outrun them. You'd be surprised how much more enthusiasm you have behind you when that thing's chasing after you. I had a bloke that came in a couple of years ago. He came up to me after the show. He goes, "Oh, I just wanted to clarify." He went on a river cruise, a crocodile spotting cruise up here. He goes, "Mate, we're out on this boat and the guide told us that crocs can get up to 50 kilometres an hour on the land. It's not a cheetah. There's 250 kilos of croc right there with these 4 little legs that go out to the side. Like, terrestrial locomotion's not his strong, you reckon?" It's hot out there, I'm going to come in amongst you guys. Get out of the way. Alright, yeah, he's onto it now, isn't he? I know, right? Boy, you can see where he's jumped up to try to grab the snake presenter, waiting for him to stuff up, put the arm over. That's from his teeth, look at him. I'm out of breath. Yeah, so no, 50 kilometres an hour, gross exaggeration, guys. I've lived up here in far north Queensland for 9 years now. Never once in that time have I been overtaken in my car by a crocodile. Driving down the main street of Cairns. That is not a thing, man. Top speed of him on land, you're probably looking over a short distance, maybe 5-10 metres, and he's spent. Top speed on land, you're looking at about 8 to 12 kilometres an hour. Now, you'll be fine. You can outrun him. I'm going to get you some cool footage, mate. Give us your camera. Do you trust me? You should. Is it rolling? Yeah, cool. Cool. Let's get it, Hagrid. What's this? I'll get you some footage of the digestive tract. You ready? It'll take 8 to 10 working days to get back. We go. Yeah. A little bit further. That's what you're going to get. That'll be $40, thanks. Oh dear. Before we go any further, I'm going to do this big dramatic hand feed thing over there. It's pretty head-raising stuff. Are there any questions before we do that? Anything you want to know? Don't be shy. I've heard every inquiry under the sun. I'll give you an example. This one happened. Middle of school holidays, there was a crowd about this big. This one Aussie woman stands up here at the front. This was a legitimate question, and she asked, if you lined up a whole lot of people and are on the edge of the water, and they're all from different nationalities, which one would the croc eat first? Granted, she was a bogan, like, she was rough.
Oh.
There's one in every crowd. As you know, with today's societal sensitivities, it's politically incorrect to answer that in a public forum. Become second after mallet, you know. Germans, yum. That's why they put the Achtung on the board.
Why does he not try and come into your chamber there?
Why doesn't he try to get into the cage? He hasn't figured that out.
Okay, right.
Because he doesn't have abstract thought. He doesn't think like that. He's just so hardwired to do certain things. Because he's not trained, but we can condition him to do certain things. Mate, I'm telling you, the day he figures that out.
Yeah.
Down the front. How long can they hold their breath? The longest we recorded, mind you, they can do multi-hour dives. They're very good at it. They've got a few adaptations which allow them to do it. So they can achieve bradycardia. They can shut the heart rate down to 2 or 3 beats a minute. They can reduce it. Pulmonary bypass shunt, which allows them to send newly oxygenated blood to more vital organs like the brain and the heart, restricting it from the extremities and less vital organs. Be asked. What do they teach in Australian schools these days? Nothing useful. You guys haven't been to school for 2 years, have you? So, the longest we recorded was on a freshwater croc, 45 kilos, just under 7 hours on one breath. Yeah, mate, absolutely. That's a relaxed dive. Mate, he got out that gate one day. Yeah, that was a good show. He actually got his whole body out there. But you know what we did? We ran around this side, came through this gate, splashed the water, he just turned around and came back in. Because he can't comprehend that he's in this enclosed area. His brain doesn't work that way. So that's why we can do this show with him. I mean, if we were doing a show with a chimpanzee, very different. Those things are calculated. They're always like 3 to 5 steps ahead at all times, right? Not this guy. Yeah, mate. How old can they get? All right, the answer is we don't know. Nobody's had crocs in captivity long enough with accurate records. Nobody knows. People claim to know, but they don't. I've been to other zoos, and they say that their croc is 150 years old. No, it's not. They can't prove that. We believe they live 70 to 90 based on bone density studies. So they actually have growth rings in their bone like a tree has. They're calcium deposits, but it's not accurate. So we can't rely on that, mate. It's like these big boys in their own enclosures around the place. They've got a little sign there with all their information. It's got their age on it. We don't know if that's their age, mate. We just put that on there to stop people from asking. I don't know if Gregory's in his 50s, mate. Works a treat, though. Anyone over here? Anyone got a question? No? Got another one? Go ahead. How big do we think he's going to get? That'll be dependent on his genetics, just like you and I. Well, we don't want him to get any bigger than that, but we can't stop him from growing, right? Well, because he's such a good show croc, and you wouldn't want a croc any bigger than him in here. Otherwise, he'd be able to jump up and smash the glass and start killing everyone in the front row. Entertaining, but not professional. So he's a good size. Their growth rate's determined by environmental factors. So how much they eat, how warm they are. Eat lots, keep warm, you grow faster. So 2 different crocs of the same age under different conditions can grow at different rates. Yeah. Well, fully grown, I mean, males grow throughout most of their life, but it slows right down as they get older. Females might max out at 25, 30, something like that. Yeah, something like that. You got a question, dude? Can they relax in the water? Yeah, mate, it's what they do most of the time. He's pretty relaxed right now, isn't he? He's just chilling. Yeah, absolutely. Nothing else? Over here, go ahead. How often do they breed? All year round. Yeah. Oh, the Crocs. I thought you meant me. Inquiry. Crocs don't actually mate all year round. What do I do? No, that's not true. That's not true. So with the Crocs, males always take longer to mature than females, right? Well into my 30s and I'm still not there. But with Crocs, it's based on size. So when they get to 2.2 metres, and for a female, they become sexually mature, roughly 8 to 12 years, about 12 to 15 for a male, 3.2 and over. They'll mate throughout most of their life and lay eggs throughout most of their life if they're female, once a year. They're highly promiscuous though. Like there is no such thing as monogamy in the crocodile world. They did DNA testing on wild clutches of eggs, never only one male donor. One clutch they found 6 male donors. In her defence, she's not a hussy. But they don't do it as a leisurely activity like we do. It's pure instinct, but beneficial because if you mate with multiple males, it increases your fertility rate. Right? You're going to be more successful with your offspring. Genetic diversity plays well into that as well. So a very handy evolutionary trait. You got one? About me? You have a personal inquiry about me? Go ahead. Finances, relationship status, what do you got? Why did I choose this job? I was very heavily influenced by a man, you probably haven't heard of him before, Steve Irwin. So I grew up watching him every night on the telly at 7 o'clock, and mate, he just inspired me, and I just wanted to be everything like him. Now that I'm older, I'm very, very different to Steve. I'm not anything like the guy, but he was my inspiration growing up. Yeah, so that's why I started getting into it when I was 16, and now I'm 32 and I'm still doing it, and I enjoy every bit of it. I'm not into the whole zookeeping stuff anymore. It bores me, like chopping up fruit and cleaning enclosures. It doesn't do it for me. I like this, the crowd interaction, dealing with you guys and showing their animals off. That's my favourite thing these days. Did anyone see his son, Robert Irwin, with his close call the other week? Yeah, that was not a close call. Look it up. By the time that croc got to him, he could have finished puberty. Well, we'll have to wrap it up. I won't be able to take any more questions, but we're going to feed this guy up, and we'll see if we can get a bit of action out of him. Alright, what do I need? It's all in there. Alright, give me a sec. I'll get him in position. He knows what's going to happen here too. He'll move over. Yeah, see? Not silly. What do we got? Mate, I could scissor a metre 50 in high school, mate. I reckon I could still do it. You know me. This is Chucky. He's our stunt chicken. He had a slip this morning. Having a bad day. He's half cut. Sorry. Choking the chicken. It's going to be a meeting in the office after the show, I can tell. Alright, so we're going to do this. We're going to do this big final hand feed. Now, I just want to be very clear. When we do these shows, some people don't like the way we interact with them. It's really important with captive animals to move them around. It's good enrichment. It's very stimulating for them. It's good for his overall health. He does not have to partake in this, remember? Some people get really upset over it. I offended a lady about 3 weeks ago. Would you believe it? Me. I was doing the boat tour, and you know how we jumped the Crocs next to the windows? She didn't like it, so she tried to call me out in front of a boatload of people. She goes, "Oh, you're teasing the animal." Doesn't look that way, so I gently explained to her why we do it, you know, the benefits of exercise and that sort of thing. She goes, "Just give it the food." I went, "One, I don't take orders from the public. Two, well, they don't eat a lot. I mean, 1 chicken a week for this guy, so you've got to be careful." She wouldn't have a bar of it. She started with the personal insults, didn't she? Up the back of the boat just constantly, "You're mean, you're nasty, this is wrong." I went, "Look, they've got no consideration for your well-being. How's this?" She goes, "What would you know?" I had enough of it like that. I said, "Look, you don't survive for 245 million years by being a snowflake, Karen." That shut her up. What she was doing, and we're all guilty of this, because it's the way we're hardwired, is she was anthropomorphizing the animal. Right? So we project our own human behavioural benchmarks, traits and emotions on other things. And it's not a bad thing because it makes us more empathetic. It's what makes us human, right? But some people take it to the extreme, like this woman. Animal activists are another one for this. Their heart's in the right place, but they're wrong. They use it to push their agenda, to try and shut down zoos and farms just like this. They go, "Oh, but that animal thinks and feels like I do." No, it doesn't. The only thing you have in common with that animal is neither of you have a job. Seriously. Well, that split the crowd, didn't it? Looking forward to reading all your complaints on TripAdvisor tomorrow. That thing in place or what? Actually, can I give you these ones? It's all about angles. Just got to have them in the right spot. Should be hard up against here. No? Oh, yes it was. No, not ready. Over here. Stay. Man, he's not going to let me out. You ready, Muzz? Oh, I'm going to ditch the stick and just run. Still got him. Alright guys, we're going to wrap it up there. If you do have any other questions or want to have a chat, feel free to come on down. A couple more activities on before we finish. 4 o'clock you've got the cassowary feed. I strongly recommend this. You can hand feed the deadliest bird in the world. If you've never heard of a cassowary, it looks like an emu dressed in drag. We saved the grand finale for you at 4:30. Behind us here in the pit of death, we have the koala attack show. Ripping stuff. For myself, Haggard and the lads, thanks very much, guys. Cheers.